Hi everyone. I'm so glad that we get this chance to be together this evening or this afternoon for you, wherever you are, because I'm really excited to be sharing information today on safety. Safety in the energy system and in your body system rather than fear. It's a big topic and there's a lot of different components to it. So as ever, bring your questions so that I can really make sure that I'm answering exactly where your concerns are around safety in your energy system, because it's something I come across again and again and again. That place of fear or the place of people not feeling safe, not feeling trusting. It's very difficult to trust if we don't feel safe. So that's why I brought it forward as a topic here. Excellent. I see a few of you already joining. Sylvie, Dave, Laura, Liza, fabulous. So great to see you here. Because actually energy systems are very, very different depending if someone is in that flow of trust. And harmony is a pretty big word. Harmony for me involves energy systems being in cohesion, in relationship, in the way that really optimizes your ability to live your life. Whenever parts of your energy system are restricted or closing down on you, whether that's through depletion or congestion, then actually you can't be the person that you actually are. You much more begin to run these old habits and old patterns. And of course, then we feel like we're self-sabotaging or we're really in a limited place and we can't move through it. So that's what I want to chat about tonight. Hi, Alexandra and Diane, Denise, Adele, beautiful Joanna, fabulous, good to see you here. All right. There are three main ways that your energy system moves when you feel unsafe. And let's just define that at first. Feeling unsafe. What does that mean? Well, it means different things to different people. In its broadest sense, it can mean unsafe physically, that actually your body moves into that fight, flight, or freeze response because your energy systems, your chemical, your hormonal systems, your memory systems are literally letting you know that your life is in danger. We are evolved in such amazing and intricate ways in so many parts of our awareness and consciousness. But that one of life and survival of life is actually not particularly evolved. It doesn't keep up with our modern way of living very well because it interprets stress as physical threat. Yeah. So when you move into fight, flight, or freeze because of something stressful in a relationship, or stresses around finances, stresses around deadlines or work, stresses around body image, whatever it is that you know really triggers stress for you, one of the first things that happens in your body system, including your energy system, is that you move into fight, flight, and freeze. And from that point on, with every pattern in your system and every chemical flooding you to tell you that you are in physical danger, essentially going way back to the evolution of our body systems when we would enter fight, flight, and freeze because we are in extreme threat of being eaten by a wild animal, about to be clubbed by a neighboring clan, or something like drought and famine. So those situations that we really evolved to work with in the capacity of fight, flight, and freeze were ideal. Perfect. We were in direct physical threat and we needed to be able to move into appropriate response. Nowadays, our stresses don't often show up in those very direct physical ways. They're much more insidious, aren't they? Stresses flow through our thoughts and our energy systems fairly continually in the day unless we're conscious of them and work with them. So it means that a lot of people move into fight, flight, and freeze. Well, actually, let's scrap that. A lot of people don't move into fight, flight, freeze. They live in it. So you might be someone who, wow, for most of the day, I don't feel like I'm working with stress. I feel like I've got immense space and expansiveness in my energy system. There doesn't feel any time pressure or expectation of future or nostalgia or regrets about the past. I'm living in my whole body, my whole energy system most of the time. Awesome. I suspect for most of you, the reality is that actually there's a real movement, a continual movement between managing those insidious stresses that come in. And what happens is you find your system getting tighter and tighter. And then you might become aware of it and you take a deep breath, or you find something funny and you laugh. Laughter is one of the very best ways to move out of fight, flight, freeze very quickly. Something helps expand your system. You remember that actually you're safe. So I suspect for most of you, you're moving in and out of that relationship between energetically, physically being safe, being expansive, therefore, or feeling unsafe, and therefore your energy systems are in a place of limitation and restriction. So you can begin to equate safety, trust with expansiveness, flow, ease, and unsafeness, unsafety, not quite sure there, with restriction and limitation. So let's think about those three aspects of fight, flight, and freeze, because energetically things are happening very, very differently in your system depending on where you go. And in my experience, you will tend to have a way that you move instinctively. So you might know someone who, the minute they get stressed, they get very angry. They really kind of explode in their system and they come out fighting. That's the way that just character-wise and instinctively, energetically, that's where their system goes. So obviously that kind of person has moved into fight. Now, let me tell you that when that happens, often there'll be two different ways that energy works in that person. One is that it looks like a porcupine or a hedgehog. Suddenly the energy field gets quite big, very, very tight at the same time. So it's full, but it's close to the body system. And it's full of these incredible jaggedy spikes. So it's moved into its defensiveness. Now, if there truly is a physical threat, that is ideal. Moving in defensiveness, hopefully still being able to keep some access to your thinking and processing brain so that you could perhaps talk yourself out of that situation. Ideal. And defensiveness in that situation, ideal. But most of us don't have that as a physical option. So that defensiveness actually means that we become a closed circuit energetically. All of our rationality flees, and at that point we're really operating from that spiny place, that place of not being able to hear other people appropriately, being locked into defense. And if necessary, with aggression. So assertion moves to aggression, and it can be very, very difficult from inside that energy space to actually begin to feel flex again. Many times people who move into that defensiveness, actually it locks in very easily. It becomes such a set pattern that the spikes are up so often that actually moving out of it can be very difficult. And even when you're asleep, it's that your energy system, instead of finding its way to repair, will still be holding you in that fight aspect of fight, flight, and freeze, which means adrenaline and cortisol is rushing through your body, and quite quickly you won't be sleeping well. You'll wake up exhausted because actually your system is holding that place. All right, so that's the fight. Flight is the other way that an energy system can move. And when you move into flight, it's very, very different. Actually, the energy system starts spiraling in super rapidly. And it can lead to a lot of discombobulation on the edges. So maybe you're chatting to someone, something triggers you, or you suddenly remember something that sends you into that flight. Well, from that point on, your ability to connect to other people gets really, really limited. When you're in the fight, in that spikiness, then actually your ability to connect can become very powerful, but it's very, very focused. It's like suddenly there is you, there is the object of threat, and it's an incredible tight relationship. When you are in your flight, then that really changes. It's more like a whirlpool energy that's happening in your system. So all of the peripheries can become hypersensitive. Yeah, they really become heightened there. And at the same time, they become really fuzzy. So there's this odd kind of discombobulation that occurs when that flight is happening. And although there's a lot of movement going on, there's no stability in that movement. Generally, movement in energy is a good thing. It can be harmonious, patterns interact, but this is much more frantic, and often can only be restored by real concentration on groundedness or meditation, or being out in nature, or taking yourself off into stillness, into really recognizing that, whoa, things have got out of balance here. I need to remove myself to really find that stability back in. All right, so the last one that I want to talk about it, because it is by far the most common one that I see across the board, is freeze. And I would say this is not dependent on gender, it's not dependent on age, but freeze is the response that most people, goodness, if I was going to put a percentage on it, I'm going to say something like 60+% of people go into freeze rather than fight or flight. And freeze energetically really does what it says. The energy systems that should have this amazing cohesion and coherence and flow to them become the bare bones system. They become the minimal system to keep things functioning. And at the same time, a lot of it just gets stock still. So now the energy systems that can move are kind of having to move around or bat up against places where this rigidity has come in. It's not a flexing kind of freeze. It's a rigidity that sets in the system. Now, I don't know the name, but when I was younger, I had a game that had lots and lots of little pins or nails in it, and I would pull back something, it would hit a marble, and it would go and it would ping all over the place, all off these little pins. And that's what it looks like inside, that the energy inside you is just absolutely frantically trying to re-establish sense and order in your energy system so you can function again, so that actually you can begin to engage in your wholeness. So while everything has kind of gone into this rigidity, then there's this frantic energy inside that's trying to find its way through it. And that's why often anxiety or panic attacks can happen, because everything's lost its cohesion, but at the same time there's this really frantic movement inside. So those are the three ways that really your system will move in, and you'll have identified yourself as I've been talking. Yeah, that tends to be the way I go. Some of you will experience all three of those, of course, but there's probably still one way that you tend to move into habitually, that even as a young person, that was the way your system started operating. And our energy systems are systems of habits. They're systems of patterns. When everything is smooth and easy in your system, then those patterns are healthy patterns. When we hit those places of limitation or tightness, the triggers, the stresses, the old patterns, then that's because that healthy pattern has actually become a habit, and that habit holds really tight. All right, let's see if there's some questions. Okay. Oh, lots of hellos and Happy New Year's. Happy New Year's to you. Okay. Hi, Vicky. Okay. Yeah, okay. Heather, I read this one and hear this one very much. Heather, You write, ever since I started perimenopause, there's been such a huge change in how I perceive stress, more anxiety and more agitation. This affects how safe you feel. Absolutely, especially when emotions rise up suddenly, especially at night. Absolutely. I mean, our definition of safety directly affects our hormones and vice versa. Yeah. When our hormones are being really kind of, well, altered, they're being changed. Right now, you're going through an amazing, amazing change in your life. Me too. And as our bodies move towards the menopause, as that child creating time eases from our systems, and the hormones really have to go through a change, and that will definitely affect your concept of safety. So let's have a little think about that one, because that is a huge topic of hormones. You know, I could say one thing I have seen work absolute wonders with many, many people working through perimenopause, not everybody, but many clients, is some kind of progesterone cream, a bioidentical progesterone cream. So you can look up there, very easy to get and very, very affordable. And if you can energy test, Heather, I don't know whether you work with self-testing, then you can literally work with that progesterone cream at an appropriate time. If you don't, then the directions of most creams are that in day 14 of your cycle, you would begin to take it until you bled. But that can really stabilize the hormones. So I'm going to pop that one in there just because I've seen it help so many people. But with energy understandings, then there's a few really key ones here. One would be to work with that core connector or hookup. So either you come into the third eye and you come into the belly button and you press in and you pull up. So Donna Eden's amazing exercise of the hookup. Or you take the heel of your hand and you place it on your forehead, and you take your other hand and you place it on your lower abdomen and you just hold it. Oh, I've got a tickle in my throat. And that one is amazing for moving energy back through the depths. So let me get a little cough sweet here. Each hormone affects your endocrine system. So each hormone governs a gland in your body. And when you use either the core connector or the hookup, and my preference here is the core connector because it works really in this way. So it works to move that central meridian through all of the chakras. And you might find, Heather, that you need to do that several times a day to really help your hormones find their balance so you can come back into safety. Rachel, you have a great question here. Does false laughter work to move you out of that, or does it have to be genuine laughter? Well, often false laughter turns into genuine laughter, doesn't it? It's a great way my dad always got me out of a bad mood when I was a fairly stroppy teenager. We'd be sitting in the car and he'd start laughing, and at first it would be fake laugh, but quite quickly we would both be absolutely cracking up. So fake laugh that's kind of filled with bitterness and I should be laughing but I can't get myself there probably won't do it. But if you can do a fake laugh and move it into a proper laugh, then it will. Oh, sorry guys, got a tickle in my throat and it's not going. Okay. Linda, you're saying that you really love the full moon exercise. Oh, I know, that was a gorgeous one, wasn't it? And it made you feel more safe and calm. Yeah, because that moon energy was really pressing hard. Actually, maybe I wanted to introduce an energy exercise here to really help reprogram some of that concept of safety. So let's do it while my throat sorts itself out. One of the things about feeling unsafe is that it's always rooted in fear. Always, always, always. So one of the first things I would be advising, if you know that you're working with places of unsafety, is to honor whatever fear it is that's triggering it. And sometimes you won't even know. So even just saying the words, I honor this fear, I honor this fear, it immediately creates space. And what I would suggest is that you cross your hands over your chest, but put your hands on the outer edge of your arms. And if you can manage the upper arms, so these deltoid muscles, then all the better. And just take a breath here. And even right now, just think about that place of safety in your system. And after honoring your fear, one thing that really can help stabilize your energy system is for you to literally look around you, look around and say the words either outside or in your head that I've assessed that in this situation I am safe. It's amazing what that small action can change in your energy field, because energetically right now, everything is hardwired to keep reminding you that you are not safe so that you change something. And when actually you can be holding these parts of your arms and really saying, I honor my fear and I've assessed that in this situation I am safe, then you can really bring about that pause moment, that place when your energy system just begins to have curiosity rather than that place of non-safety. So that's the first step. So what's happening right now is instead of the porcupine or the whirlpool or that place of real freeze, there's suddenly an expansion of curiosity. It's like your energy systems will be absolutely ready to go back into porcupine or whirlpool or freeze, yeah? They'll be absolutely ready to, but there's just this point of curiosity there. And so I'd follow it up by one more action. And also in this place, the words you speak, whether that's in your head or out loud, are so important, because words, verbiage, they provide a bridge between the conscious and the subconscious, yeah? And energetically, words become the energy between what your deep, deep, deep systems are helping save you about or against, and the reality of the situation. So your words bring this bridge. So you've honored your fear. You have assessed the situation and you've said out loud or on your head that you are safe. Then you're going to take your hands down to the lower abdomen and pubic bone, and you're going to come all the way up the midline. And as you do that, you're going to say, I breathe in safety. So let's do that together. I breathe in safety. You're coming all the way up through the chakras, up through that Daiji pole, the energetic core. I breathe in safety. What this will also be really doing is grounding you. When you begin to really activate that central meridian, especially in its role as energetic core, then suddenly, wow, your system begins to really open up. It's not just curiosity at this point. Now it's actually connection. And for many of you, you'll want to add one more part to that. And you'll come back here and you'll either say, I breathe out fear, or I release any fear. So it might look like this. You've come here, you've honored your fear, you've looked around and you've assessed that you are safe, and you've said those words. Then you breathe in safety and you release any fear. Nice. Let's see if there's any questions about that. Yep, Roseanne, you're absolutely right. You're saying that chronic fatigue syndrome is the freeze version. Absolutely. In fact, I have seen it move in other ways. I've seen flight get really, really locked in with CFS or ME, and it can just become such a whirlpool, but often freeze. Yeah. Bagatelle is the game. Thank you, Eliza. Okay, Rachel, I hope that the exercise I've just given you helps you know how to break that cycle, because that place of fight, flight, freeze, just like any pattern or any habit in this situation, can be evolved. Okay, that's the total basic premise of all energy understandings, that we can evolve any negative or limiting habits back into their healthy patterns. Thank you, Bev, for your beautiful words. And Jen, you're saying, an email came in. I suffer from chronic adrenal burnout. Painful muscle spasms, yeah. And mostly on your left side, yeah. So muscle spasms, really, I mean, it's a beautiful way of your body really letting you know that there's no safety in the system, or it's struggling to find safety in the system. So that is your big protective system of triple warmer or triple burner. That really governs those kind of spasms. So there's all kinds of ways, and you can go to my blogs or the YouTube channel to look at ways to work with triple warmer. What I've experienced in, again, majority situations, is that we need to nourish that big protective system. It's no good, you imagine, you're in fight, flight, freeze, all of your system is saying things are not safe, we have to run, or we have to fight, or we have to be really still. Stress is overloading your system is in overwhelm. You're in that situation, and you come in, and maybe you know some points to calm down this amazing triple burner protector system, and you hold them. Now, for many people, that pushes the system even into greater alarm. Your beautiful triple burner system was trying to keep things together, and now you're relaxing it. Sometimes it works, but what I've seen much more than actually nourishing, giving help to that triple burner system, and also to its big sister, the heart protector system. And I've got lots of information about both of those in my blogs, because it's a very it's a subject very dear to my heart. Then actually what we need to do is nourish the system at all points. When we can nourish, and that means groundedness, that means stability and security, when we can bring that into the system, then those amazing protector systems relax on their own. Yeah, it's a bit like, you're really tense and I say to you, relax, why don't you just relax? guaranteed it's not going to make anyone relax ever. But if I sit you down, if I give you a cup of tea, that would help me, or whatever drink you love, and say, hey, how about we just chill out here for a minute? Let's just breathe together. Then after a little while, you're going to find that your system relaxes because you have the tools now to do so. So yeah, nourishing. And that's where honoring the fear really, really comes in. You begin to nourish what's kind of banging for attention in your energy system and in your psyche. Okay. Eliza, you asked, will doing this exercise help those around you, human or animal, to find a sense of safety too? Absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up because I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. Fear is the most instantly transferable energy we have. If I'm feeling unsafe and frightened, that energy has moved super speedily through the entire room. Now, some people's energy systems will be resilient, grounded, they'll be holding safety, and they'll literally be able to identify, oh, fear is around. Yeah, I don't feel frightened, I feel safe. So the wisdom of the energy system can come in. But for so many people, if they're already in a sensitive place anyway, maybe not experiencing non-safety, but maybe not experiencing trust, then that sense of fear, or if their energy system is really empathic, yeah, that sense of fear comes in and will trigger that same fear in them. So the beautiful thing is that happens in its flip as well. If I am radiating safety, calm, groundedness, maybe joy, then that begins to set a field within the room as well. So absolutely, fear and safety are real key communicators because, of course, humans evolved in groups. We could say we are herd animals in that respect. So energetically picking up on those kinds of signs in the energy system, very, very strong. All right, I'm glad my throat has sorted itself out. We are nearly out of time. Let's see if there's one last question. Okay. Bev, I see you have a question about the dentist. I've got a blog on that. Look that up. I've got lots and lots of techniques of how to work with nerves and groundedness at the dentist. So look that up. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. Evelyn, you're asking, is there a reason why symptoms might all be left-sided? Yes, there are. And often it comes down to habits in the body that if we take as a premise that everything should move in its flow. Well, now let's say that something starts on the left side and it begins to move out of flow. And the right side looks for correction, but the left side can't quite manage it. Well, that begins to affect everything around it quite quickly. Definitely, it's really common, really common that people will have more left side than right or more right side than left, however it works for them. There can be energetic reasons. We tend to see the left side of the body as being more of the yin, the feminine, the receptive side of the body, the yang side of the body being the right, the more expressive, the more external, or the masculine. But there are other cultures who flip that completely around. So I never give that too much weight, really. It depends where we set our truth or what you've grown up in culturally. So I just think it's really interesting when things are one-sided, then one of the things that's really important is lots and lots and lots of crossovers, whether that's going for a walk and just walking out, whether it's really moving from one shoulder over to the other hip or the side of your face or figure eights. It's just about bringing left and right back into communication so that in this example, your right side can begin to support and nourish the left side back into cohesion. Okay, guys, we are going to finish there. Thank you so much for joining me. I've loved sharing this information and great questions. So I look forward to seeing you Normally do the Facebook Lives every couple of weeks, but I'm actually traveling in 2 weeks' time. So I will see you after that. All right. Much love, everybody. Bye-bye.